And welcome back to the Business Spotlight. I'm Pat Dewar. My guest today, you're going to love him, Michael McIntyre. Now, Michael is he's a speaker, a keynoter. One of his keynotes that's been highly acclaimed, it's really sought after, is the authenticity ratio. Now, authenticity in sales? Nah, right? No, not this guy. You'll be pleasantly surprised. Mike, thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, Patrick.
Now, you have been on everything. I mean, CBS, I've got a list here that's this long. Fox, CBS, Industry Week, Business Insider, Forbes, U.S. News, I mean, it kind of goes on, okay? So your message, obviously, is getting out in mass, almost going viral. Tell me about this authenticity ratio and how did you create it?
Interesting. Thank you for the nice compliment, by the way. Yeah, when I wrote this book, I sold my insurance agency, which I had for about 30 years, and back in 2007. So I had some money and some time on my hands, and so I wrote this book. And I wrote the book as basically an autobiography and a how-to.
Sure.
And what surprisingly came out of this was a lot of people were asking, I figured a lot of people would say, hey, I want to know about that certain close that you did. I want to know exactly how you pivot to that situation or how you build rapport or establish yourself in a situation. But what most people wanted to know is, how do we become authentic? Mm-hmm. So I looked at this and I thought, all right, how do I do this? So I went on Google, like everybody else does, right? And I looked up authenticity. And surprisingly so, there wasn't anything on there other than how to authenticate relics or coins or artwork. So we developed the authenticity ratio.
For salespeople.
That's right, or for anybody.
Right.
And it works, I always say that it's good for business, but it's even better for your relationships.
Correct. Now, I know that, what we're talking about, your book, The Authentic Salesman, and I loved it. I enjoyed it. I read it the other night, and it had a blast going through it because it was story enough of kind of where you came from, okay? But technical enough you were gaining sales tools. I mean, your 5-point system, the things of that nature that are in there. And then tying it all back to, look, sometimes you just got to make a sale.
Yeah,
and if I'm not mistaken, and this is the Business Spotlight, how many business owners out there, a sale or a series of sales could change their life?
Immediately, right, exactly, and for the better. And so, one of the things that we wanted to do with this book and with the authenticity ratio is to help out companies to where, because people have a real strong hunger right now, Patrick, for authenticity.
That's right.
To being authentic. From our marriages, from our schools, from our pastors, from us in our business place, in the marketplace. There's a real need for people to experience that authenticity. And so what we do with the authenticity ratio is help individuals establish that and kind of see where they're at right now. It's where they can have a barometer. In fact, we have a test online that they can take a quick test and see exactly where they're at. And then,
now, where would they get that test?
They can go to AuthenticityRatio.com.
AuthenticityRatio.com.
Yes.
And then they can go through this process of figuring out how authentic they really are?
Exactly, that's right. And it's not scientific, but it's pretty close. And we developed this over a period of time, and it takes about 5 minutes. I get instant results, like we all want in this country today. Is instant gratification, so they can see where they're at. And it's an excellent tool. I've had some people call me and say, man, I had no idea that I was this inauthentic. I said, well, you should have asked your wife.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I imagine that's a really big one. But now, along this process, and you've had some pretty radical changes along the way.
Yes.
You started from one neighborhood, and now you're in a completely different neighborhood.
Praise God, yes. That's true. That's exactly right. I had humble beginnings. I grew up in Michigan and joined the Air Force right out of high school and to get to college. And I was blessed. I got into sales here in Dallas and did real well in sales. And then in 1987, I started my first insurance agency. And we recruited over 20,000 agents over the next 20 years and generated over $3 billion in sales over that period of time too.
Wow. Well, I know that after the break, I want to get into some of the ideal client that you really are looking for and that should be looking for you. Because when it comes to you know, authenticity in this book, I will tell you, you can get it everywhere, right?
Yes,
Barnes & Noble, Amazon.
Yes.
Get it, it's worth it. And I don't mean to dismiss that in any way, I just say that was worth reading. This is the Business Spotlight, and we're talking about business, helping you get more and developing a better career. Thanks so much, we'll be right back. And welcome back to the Business Spotlight. I'm your host, Patrick Dewar. My guest today, Michael McIntyre. Michael wrote the book, The Authentic Salesman. He also has the Authentic Ratio. We're talking about a way to help you, well, I want to say, find out how authentic you really are. And for some of us, we should know that. I know that our wives deserve better, and so does our family and the people that we serve. So Mike, I want to get really into who do you serve and how people can connect to you.
It's a great question. Thank you for asking it. We've had some interesting clientele. We've had some professional National Football League teams that we've done some work with. We've had some very prominent law firms that we've done work with, and that's a really interesting one.
I'm thinking both of those are like an oxymoron.
They are.
Football, authentic, lawyer, liar. Those usually are interchange.
Yeah, well, what we found is there's three things that create authenticity. The basic three ingredients that we found. There's several other ones, but the basic three is, number one is creativity.
Okay.
We all are born creative, but during our lifetime it's kind of pushed back and pushed down because we fear rejection. So if we think we're going to be creative, because I believe God created us all that way, and so when we come up with our creativity and we get it pushed down, we don't like that rejection. It doesn't feel good. The second thing is we have to have is commitment, or using our language to make commitment. And I say that with, we always make promises. Psychologists say that 65% of the promises that we make are kept. That means 35% are broken. Does that make us bad? No, but it makes us, we don't keep all our promises. So if you're a leader in business and you're only keeping 65% of your promises, that hurts your authenticity. The third thing is action. You've heard the phrase, your actions scream so loud, I can't hear a word you're saying.
That's right.
Because a lot of times we'll want good intentions, okay, but they don't follow through with the results. So what we do is we come in with corporations, companies, sales teams, law firms, NFL teams, and we take those good intentions and transform those into authentic results.
Oh, very good. So you actually help them keep their commitments.
That's right.
Because I love that statement, that people really do read you faster than you would ever expect.
That's right.
And if you drop the ball 35% of the time, well, it's a little bit like a bridge that, only is up,
right.
65%, so a third of the time, well.
Well, you've heard the saying, talk is cheap.
Right.
Okay, well, I believe that we have cheapened it.
Correct.
Because I think talk is very expensive. When we make a declarative statement, say, I promise something, then that means you need to deliver it, whatever that means. And when our people come through our authenticity ratio system, their authenticity rises dramatically, and the results are phenomenal.
And how do people connect to you?
They can connect with us online at at AuthenicityRatio.com. It's easy for me to say, AuthenicityRatio.com. They can go to Facebook and connect with us, The Authentic Salesman,
Great.
Or they can also go on Twitter, and we also have the AuthenticSalesman.com.
Right. Now, one of the things that you really are emerging as is a keynoter.
Yes.
Okay, so you're speaking all over probably the country. Have you
Yes.
done much internationally yet?
Yes, I have. We've spoken in Rome, we've spoken Spain, which is always fun,
Absolutely.
Cancun, Mexico, which is great, Australia, at the Sydney Opera House, which was really exciting. So yes, we've been blessed to speak in many places.
That's right.
Yeah.
And is the reception pretty big? I think it would be, but
people love authenticity. They really want that. They want to know. They want to unlock that key to get into that authenticity and make a big difference right now.
Are there any steps that people can do, right now to begin that
True.
process?
Yes, absolutely. One thing is disconnect our autopilot. We all have this autopilot going on. It's every day that we just kind of go through our emotions, and it so takes us out of the present moment. So if you disengage that autopilot, it'll increase your authenticity because you're paying attention to now. We also have a 30-day to authenticity challenge on our website that they can check out.
That would be excellent. I know that I just have known for a long time. Authenticity is what the world is crying out for. I think that people want that. I think that our kids want it. I mean, they've seen the stuff.
That's right.
They've seen our stuff.
That's right.
So, you know, the business spotlight is really about getting your message into the marketplace. If you want to connect to us, please do. Go to biztv.com and connect to us. I'm Pat Dewar, Business Spotlight. We'll talk to you next time.